Alright, Turkey Toe saga continues. I think last Friday I told the story of me getting a ticket for the Copperhead skins and the Turkey Toes, and how I started writing letters. And I wrote a shit pile of letters. But it takes a shit pile of letters to get a state law changed. But I guess the first letter, I wouldn't say his name, but he was the chief executive officer of the Game Commission at the time. I didn't know it at the time. But he and my father were friends. They did business together back in the day of state parks, when my dad was commissioner of state parks. Turned out the chief executive officer of the Game Commission, we found out what happened. We found out who I was. He made contact with my father and just basically apologized. Shouldn't have gone that way. The ticket was already written. Since it was already written, it had to go to court. Long and short, he thought it was pretty, at least the way I understood it. I wasn't part of the conversation. He thought it should have been handled differently, and it should have. But needless to say, it was that ticket that got me to get the law changed. So maybe it was a good thing. This was August 19, 2013. Almost 10 years ago. Dear Mr. So-and-so, I am writing to express my concern over the incident that occurred to me this past Saturday, August 10th, 2013. Goddamn squirrel. I ran out of CB bullets for my 22. So I went and bought some new ones, but because there's this giant ammo shortage, they didn't have the ones I needed. So I had to buy CB shorts for my grandfather's 22. I didn't know it. I know it now. That the CB shorts don't have as flat a trajectory as the long. So last Friday, basically all damn week, I've been trying to shoot this squirrel. It's basically like shooting spitballs at it. Just, it's actually 3 of them. Anyway. Saturday, August. As you're aware, I was a vendor participating in the Virginia Hunting Expo at the Richmond International Raceway. The products I sell are all handmade, functioning works of art from natural and recycled material. They include anything from Native American replica archery equipment to unique turkey packs. That afternoon, after being seen by countless conservation officers and members of the DGIF, I was approached by an officer who immediately picked up the turkey call and said the product, along with a bow I had made, was in violation of state law, and I would receive a summons. Both the call and the bow had copperhead skins glued on their backs. I explained to the officer that prior to the show in June, I spoke with a woman at the DGIF's Broad Street office and explained to her my intention regarding products and sales. I also explained to the officer that she had asked the colonel directly, and I was told that so long as my products were legally harvested and manufactured into a tool, utensil, or artwork, that they could be sold. This argument did not dissuade the officer, who then proceeded to write the summons. I asked if I could simply remove the items in question, but this too was rejected. Now clearly, as I'm sure you have gathered, I protest the issuance of the summons and plan to fight it in court. But this is not the real concern I mentioned earlier. This event was planned and promoted as a celebration of Virginia's hunting heritage. Vendors, artists, and small businesses from all over the United States came to participate, sell their wares, and promote hunting and outdoor sports of Virginia. The Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries was invited free of charge to foster good relations with the public and to promote their agenda of safe, ethical hunting. They were not invited to take advantage of mass gatherings for easy police work. So in this regard, I feel the DGIF has missed its goal by a long shot. I was a paid established vendor with a stationary booth, not an illicit purveyor of bear gallbladders on a dark country road. Where did this officer think I was going? Could he not have waited until closing time to conduct his business? With the presumed violation being in question to start with, could he have not explored the legality of the issue further? Why didn't he ask a co-worker or even his superiors? After all, the Virginia DGIF display booth is a suffocating mass of conservation officers only 75 feet away. Why was this officer so eager to come into my booth at peak hours, disbanding customers like fleeing refugees, and wave a canary yellow summons of victory while quoting the Code of Virginia like it was scripture? We could have gone outside, away from potential clients. Maybe he was trying to set an example. Fine, but what if he's wrong? What if everything I was selling proves to be completely legal? Will this officer magically reamass the fleeing customers? Will he somehow remove the stain of criminality that was placed on my products? No. The damage to my reputation and products is done because none of the customers or passerbys will be in the courtroom if my case is dismissed. On the flip side, what if the opposite holds true? What if I'm guilty as charged? Perhaps I received some bad information from the colonel and I can't sell copperhead clad nose. It seems to me my penalty is much more than a fine and court cost. I have to ask, what was truly gained by this officer's rush to judgment? Did he foster good relations with the public? Did he display Virginia hospitality and manners? Did he promote hunting, small business, or the arts? Did he save any copperheads from highways or hoes? The answer is no. I have enclosed a photograph of the sign I made the evening after this incident occurred. It was meant to be hung on the rear wall of my booth for the final day of the hunting expo. It took me hours to complete, which was good because every brush stroke of every letter made me a bit calmer and level-headed. When it was finished, I loaded it in my truck and went to display my protest. But when the time came to take it inside and hang it up, I decided it wasn't such a good idea. Even though I felt angry and betrayed and all of my points were valid, I felt hanging that sign would ultimately benefit no one. I felt that sign, my rush to judgment, made me no better than the officer who caused my grief. So I left it in the truck. Well, I've forgotten how much strife and angst that damn thing caused me. I have a tremendous respect for nature, art, small business, and all the laws that govern and promote them. I try to demonstrate my respect in the products I create and sell. I don't want my reputation as an artist, craftsman, businessman, and hunter tread upon by an overzealous conservation officer or an emotional, angry protest on a wooden sign. It just shows a lack of professionalism. In the end, I may be guilty. I did try to sell a bow and a turkey call with copperhead skins on it. And if that's illegal, I'll pay my fine. To that end, the charging officer can say he has done his job. I only hope that in time, with a little more experience, the officer will learn there's more to be professional than just doing your job and being polite. We all have to take responsibility for our actions and the long-lasting, far-reaching effects they have. The laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia may be written in black and white, but as my case shows, they can still be open to interpretation. If you think of the law as a living, breathing thing, written with enough clarity to be the creature of habit, but also with enough ambiguity to learn from its mistakes, you will most likely discover the true meaning for which it is written. In the end, the responsibility of law is really up to the individual. So whether you're an artist or a vendor, a hunter or a conservation officer, we must always think before we act and ask ourselves, is what I'm about to do promote my agenda with long-term benefits, or am I just doing my job? Without asking this question of ourselves, no amount of written law will ever bring about justice. Sincerely, Kevin Baker. So, that was the first letter that got the ball rolling. And as I said, there were many letters thereafter. But I ended up going to court. Another friend of mine who's a well-respected lawyer took up my case pro bono because he thought it was so ridiculous. I was charged guilty. I was put on a year of wildlife probation. I think I was charged guilty. Maybe it was, I can't remember. I know I was on probation. But the funny thing was, at the end of the probation period, another misunderstanding, imagine that. Either myself or the lawyer were supposed to return to court, and I don't even know what was supposed to happen, prove that I had been a good boy and hadn't broken any laws, reinstate my hunting license. Whatever was supposed to happen, it didn't happen. Neither myself or the lawyer went back to court. So I got a letter in the mail that my driver's license had been revoked. I had a bench warrant because I hadn't shown up for court. Oh my God, what a cluster. But I called my lawyer buddy and he went and met the judge. We got it all taken care of. But in that period of time, I was driving without a license and could have been arrested. Bench warrant. If I hadn't found out and got it wrong. But anyway, next Sunday, maybe I'm sure I will try to read you some of the other letters that got the Baker Law passed. Look at that fat dog. And that one. Yeah, I'm looking at you. I stopped on the side of the road the other day, and not to be grotesque, but they were, chopped the head off a deer. One of the best chew toys for a dog because they can't consume it, but they can chew on it for a week. So they're fat and exhausted. Isn't that right, Trixie? All right, see you later.